Hey friends, how are you? Um, it is currently 9 a.m. on a Tuesday, and I've been awake entirely too many hours. So, what up, y'all? What's up, V Dog? How you doing? Um, so yeah, today is going to be a fun day because we are going to attempt to resurrect a website that it was one of my favorite projects I worked on with Netlify. Uh, I got a chance to work with Lynn Fisher, who she and I overlapped at Netlify for about a year. It was just a fun project, right? And this was one that I didn't I didn't build it. I was in the position to sort of like fight for it and greenlight it. Like it was when I was a VP. So I don't actually know how this thing works. Like I've never seen the code of this website really, and I've never worked on it. And so the part that's going to be interesting is seeing how well I can figure this out. And I want to see if I can do it inside of one show. So we're going to see if we can speed run kind of fixing this site and getting back to see what we can do. So just converting 3 weeks of attempting Rust into JS because it's stressing me out. I felt the same way about Rust. I was having a lot of fun and also not getting very much done. And I think if I had more backend projects that I needed, I would probably I'd be way more interested in like getting really good at Rust. But I haven't felt the need yet. So I'm still on the like I would like to learn but am not learning currently train with with it. All right, let's take a look at this site because I got a lot to do and I'm worried about my ability to do any of it. Oh, I forgot to share my screen. Hold please. Here it is. Okay. So this is the site. It's oss.love. I will throw a link to it up in the chat. And so you can go check the site out now. It still works. There are pieces of it that work and pieces of it that don't. And so what I want to do is get it back to full functionality. So basically the history of this site is that I think in 2021 for Valentine's Day, we wanted to do a fun project at Netlify. And so Lynn is just, a brilliantly creative person. If you're not familiar with Lynn's work, by the way, let's take just a quick minute and enjoy the absolute, oh my goodness, she's got a new one. Okay, this is the Lynn Fisher magic. If I can give me my browser window. It's giving me like 1 pixel of grab. Come here. There we go. What? How did she do this? That is so cool. Because anyways, this is the kind of stuff that Lynn does, and I'm willing to bet money that this is 100% JavaScript or 100% CSS. My mistake there. But like, this is freaking brilliant. Okay. So anyway, so Lynn has like steadily created these incredible projects. And if you look at the archive too, like these sites are just so good. Like this is one that I especially love because it sort of it just showcased like fun things you can do with CSS by like having the heads kind of continually explode as you go bigger and bigger. And then if I keep zooming out, you can see more. Right. And it's just like, how fun is this? This is brilliant. It makes me happy. And so anyways, when Lynn started working at Netlify, it was like, well, of course we're going to do something fun. Let me actually share a link here. So this is Lynn's website for anybody who wants to go check that out and really, like, truly go look at that archive and like poke at this code because it's the coolest thing. So we wanted to work on this project with Lynn, and the pitch was, let's make Valentines for developers. And you can see here that Lynn came up with a truly like upsetting number of these for how much time she had to work on them. And the way that we ended up doing this is we had a open auth flow to log in with your GitHub account. Once you get logged in, you are kind of set up as one of these people. And then if you want to send Valentine, what we wanted to do was allow you to do something like, if you wanted to send one to the Learn with Jason org, you would add recipient. And what it should have done is generated or like pulled in the image. And then this itself would show up as a Cloudinary image. And so if we look at the network tab, what's happening here is when I go to add, we're getting a 500 because the API is basically broken. And then when we go to ship it, I think we also get a 500. When we ship it, we get nothing, probably because there's some check to make sure that you've selected a thing. So I want to figure out what's going on with this API, and I want to get it ported over. And then the other piece that's missing is that you used to be able to look at an archive of these. Well, maybe not actually. No, it wasn't. Sorry, it wasn't an archive. It was when you sent the site or sent the card, we sent it as a web page, and that web page had an open graph image, so it needed a unique URL, and we did that using Supabase. So this is a project that runs on, I think, is 11D on the front end. It's Supabase to save the hashes of the card so that we can know this person sent this card to this person, so that if they send the link, then we can generate the open graph image and have it show up on Twitter. And we had OAuth here. I don't know if that was just like a straight up OAuth call or if that's in a framework. And then Cloudinary is what's making the composite images. So all of that is what we are going to attempt to resurrect today. Because at the moment, it's basically a very beautiful site that doesn't, unfortunately, work. So let's dive in and see if we can fix it. So the cool thing is that when Lynn left Netlify and went over to, where is Lynn these days? UI.dev, which was a great choice, and I think a really cool place for them to land. Netlify just didn't have the capacity to like keep the site going, so they were going to just shutter it, right? And then Lynn wanted to take it over, and so a cool thing that Netlify did was they just gifted her the project. They basically said like, yeah, we're not going to maintain it, so why don't you take it? So they transferred over the repo, transferred over all of the rights and everything, and now this is Lynn's project. So that's, I think, a really cool thing. I thought that was a pretty like stand-up move by the Netlify team. But as part of the transfer, we lost like the Supabase account and stuff like that. So Lynn has set up new Supabase accounts, new Cloudinary accounts, and we're going to see if we can get this all put together. What's up, Amitabhas? And yeah, Lynn rules. So let's get this rolling. Let's and I've done basically nothing. So I'm going to actually clone this now and see. Oh, let's see, that's the wrong window. Let's get one down here. Let me like pull some of these windows out of here so I don't accidentally show all my stuff on screen. You're going to live over here, in fact. Okay. So let me deal with all that later. This was a fun project that I worked on yesterday. I'll talk about it more later if I have time. This is my my like file structure for managing these types of projects is I have a GitHub folder, and then I go into the org folder, and then I create the repo. And what it means is that I can do this little like replacement thing that makes this an actual link I can click, which is really cool. Anyways, that's a handy little thing that I did with starship.sh. Is that what it's called? No, that's not it. Is that not what this is called? RS. That's what it is. Starship.rs. Anyways, this is a cool little project that will let you customize your shell prompt in a aesthetically pleasing way. I've lost the chat. Here we are. So if you want to go play with that, it's really fun. And yeah, VDog, it's great. Like, and the amount of things that you can customize in here are huge as well. So it's very nice for, they don't like have just examples, but I like it. It's very fun. I've enjoyed it very much. So let's get our project here. 11D, Netlify function, Supabase, Cloudinary, Netlify graph. So this is, okay. So this is the part that's broken because Netlify graph was in beta. I think it's been superseded by Netlify Connect. So I don't think we can even use this. I think that we will have to migrate this part off. And then the GitHub OAuth, I think, might just be a straight OAuth flow. So we install dependencies. We'll run Netlify dev. All right, let's do this. And now we're going to I'm not gonna be the one to update those dependencies just yet. Let's see where we're at. Okay, so here's our project. And we can see here when we go to log in, what happened. Oh, I don't have my client IDs and stuff. Okay, so I'm gonna have to define some GitHub projects to make that work. That's fine. How do I just get back to my here? Okay, so this part is working. We'll have to get the login working again. Let's figure out what we're missing. That's not my project. Oh, I see what I did. Let's open this one. Close this window. And now we can start it over here. Stop it. Okay. So we got our project going. And there is not like a .env .example for me to look at. Oh, I wonder if I can I think I can connect this to the Netlify project. Netlify init. Connect it to an existing site. I have so many sites on Netlify. Dope. Okay. So that, I think, and this won't show the values, I don't think. I panicked to pull that off screen. Okay. So that was fine. Okay. So we have our database URL, our GitHub app, client ID, dev, secret dev, service API key, and I don't want to show the values. Okay, so then now when we run, we should actually get those environment variables from, there we go, from Netlify. We get them. Well, they're in there. You'll just have to trust me. So now I think, shoot. Still doesn't work, which leads me to believe that well, these are there. What's this? Is this one of those, like, I need to update these to be the dev values? Let's just try that and see what happens. And what I can do actually on Netlify that I don't think existed at the time this was done is we can change the values to be different on, like, during dev and production and so on. In fact, why don't we just see if we can do that, because that'll make our lives easier. Okay, so here's the project. Configuration. I can't remember. I think this is, I think it's hidden by default, but I'm going to check first. Yeah, okay, so this is how this works now, which is really nice, where you can change the values for different things. But because this site was built before this feature existed, you can see all of these are set up with the environment variables in all scopes. So what I'll be able to do is actually take this value and put it into the client ID as the local development value, and that should solve this problem for us. So let me just take the screen off screen for a second while I make these changes. So I want this value. I'm going to copy it, come in here, edit, and we're going to do different value for different deploy contexts, and save. And I'm going to do the same thing with the client secret. Different value for different deploy contexts, update the local dev, save. And that, I think, should work. So I'm going to bring this back up. Okay. I don't believe you. And this, I'm going to be extra careful with this one, because these, if I show these keys, Lynn would have to roll them because they're on her accounts. And so I don't want to do that. You can disable accessing process.end by modifying a d.ts. I think that might mean more that you, like, can't, like, you'll get errors in TypeScript, but it wouldn't, like, actually disable it, as far as I know. Like, to the best of my knowledge, modifying TypeScript doesn't actually change how JavaScript works. It just changes how your editor complains. What's up, Baz? Let's see if this worked. So I'm going to go restart now that I've updated those values. And theoretically speaking, we're going to get a different value for our GitHub key, or for our client ID and secret, which should being the operative term, still dead, which makes me wonder if these were set up on the Netlify account and are no longer valid, which is definitely possible. Okay, so why don't I just set up a new developer key? And how do you do that? You go to settings and then applications, I think. And then you have to OAuth app. No, that's authorized. I want to create apps. Developer settings. New GitHub app and reach across for this. There we go. And so this is going to be oss.love testing. Let's see, what is my callback URL? My callback URL is going to be one of these, which I called auth callback. Great, good, good, good. So then I look in here just to make sure. Auth. Okay, so the redirects change this from being like /netlify /function /auth dash to /auth/ whatever the thing is. So this is going to be /auth/ callback. And I don't need to do that for testing. We do want user authentication or user authorization because we want, I think we need their email and avatar. Device flow, I don't know what that means, so I'm not going to do it. Don't need posts. We don't need a webhook. And what permissions do we need? Great question. I don't really need anything. I just need like the name. User. Maybe it's account? No. Contents, custom properties. I think by getting the user data up there, I already have that. Pull requests, secrets, single file variables. Okay. Organization permissions. We don't need any of those. Account permission. Oh, this is what I needed. So I need profile. I don't need to I don't need to manage it. I just need to read it. And then what? I think that's it. I think. I can update this later. Let's go with that. Did I do this wrong? Is it a GitHub app? This is probably okay. So I'm going to take my client ID. And we'll generate a client secret for it. And I guess on this one, I can show you the secret because it's only accessible from my account. And I'm going to do something fun, which is I'm going to override the .env.local. And we're going to call this, what was it called? Oh, wait, I changed one of those values. Did I save this? Okay, before I do anything else, let's just see if I had made a change to this that was breaking it. No, still needs a new ID. So GitHub app client ID. That's going to be that one. And then we're going to have, what was the other one? And I need to get my secret, which is in here. All right, so then if I change these and we run again, then what it'll do, oh my God, it will take, so it takes the .env.local and gets this, and then it ignores the one from the site settings. So basically I'm able to like run things on my own site here. So now, theoretically speaking, still not working. Okay. So our client ID is undefined. Interesting. So that's a whole different thing. So that means that we're not even getting our client ID, which is a different problem. So let's look at our login. Well, actually, let's trace how this works. So we've got our site and includes layouts. I bet it's up here somewhere. So to log in, header auth. Okay, so that's bringing in something maybe from header auth, header logged out. Okay, so there's a header logged out template, and that just sends you to the auth login, and the auth login is this one here. So it's a GET request, and when you hit it, this is some Netlify stuff that we're going to have to deal with. And then we need to get our client ID. So why is this missing is the big question. So theoretically speaking, this should be set and we should see it log when I click this button. So I click this button. That's a bunch of cookies. So that part makes sense, but then we're not getting our process.env. So why are we not getting our process.env? Because it should definitely be here. So let's make sure that it's not something weird like I'm being cached. So I'm going to make sure that some data comes out. And still nothing. So rewrote URL to auth check. Where is that happening? How is it even? Okay, so those are our cookies, right? So we'll maybe drop that part. And then instead, we'll do the same console log as here. Also very confused as to how we clicked on auth login and ended up at the auth check. So I'll have to look into that a little bit. Okay, so we know we've been logging from here. So theoretically, now we'll maybe get an undefined, but we'll at least see some data. Because look, this is going to auth/login, and it logs from there. GitHub app client ID, GitHub app client ID. So those are set. That's our 401. So this is the failure. There's no login auth redirect there. So let's look at the netlify.toml. And why is this redirecting? Because this here, so /auth/login should go to functions auth-login. And did I skip something silly? Like, is it going? Oh, it's doing, that's the thing. Okay, so when it hits auth login, it 100% should be showing me something from here. So let's see if we can trace this path. Like, what the hell is going on? What is happening? Like, where does this run? So this is running before anything. What? Okay, so this check logged in should be running then. So this should be running on every page load. Not logged in, false. Yeah, so it's running now. So that's what's actually causing the client ID to log. So then when we get into our auth login, this should be, I'm so confused. Like, we should definitely be getting this log because there's nowhere else for this to go. Is there some kind of magic down here? Because that's the cookies. And it does a redirect. But that should be showing up. Like, we should be seeing things because there's nowhere for this to bail early. So when you click through, can I like manually auth login? What just happened? Like, why did that work? What? Okay, so let's figure out what's clickjacking this button. Customize previewing. because it is supposed to check logged in, toggle header login, which if there's a local user, it will show the logged in user. Otherwise, it shows the logged out user. The logged out user is in this base. There's a button here, and that button links to auth login. I am lost. Localhost auth login. So this should work. And now it works. So something must have been cached or something like that, because I don't know. Who knows? Yeah. Okay. So now that we've got that solved, we're logged in. That part's good. Let's start digging into how we actually look something up. So the flow then is we get, and let's see, close this down. We're going to open one of these up, and I want to add a recipient. So I put in a GitHub org, I add, and it says that it fails. Okay, and the reason that it fails is we get our 500, and if we come over to the console, we can see that OneGraph, Netlify Graph has reached its end of life. Bummer. So we need to figure out what this OneGraph thing was doing, or better, we can just change this over to be a query using like GitHub, like just their API, because I think that might be easier. So to do that, let's look at where the actual piece is. Here's our site. Includes, do we have like a search layouts? No. Sponsors, header, global, footer, button, search. So what am I looking at here? We've got our index, customize. Recipient details. Okay. So yeah, we've got an image, we've got that, and then let's see, is there, choose your recipient. Add recipient. And that means that this add recipient is going to be hooked to probably the JavaScript called customize. That runs toggle UI. So do we have a toggle UI, toggle card UI? So that just bails. Okay. Then if there's a local user and we can find the customize CTA, then we pull in the, yeah, okay, all right. So we're looking at the logged in user handle, the logged in avatar. And when you click, what is button handler? Button handler is an event listener. Okay, so when you pass in a callback, it will add an event listener on click that runs the callback. Cool. So when we get this, we call find GitHub recipient, which happens up here, and that sends to API user and the username. So we're going to API/user, which I'm willing to bet is going to be here. We get a username, default to Phil. I see Phil was giving himself some Valentine's there. All right, so we split on the path. We get the username out like that, and then we do all these sorts of things. And I think what we can do here, because what we ultimately need is the user, is let's take all of this, and I'm just gonna, what am I trying to do here? There. That was what I was trying to do. No. Jeez. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to take the username and I want to get a response from the GitHub URL. So we'll use fetch, and I'm going to, let's see if we can just do this. I'm going to do GitHub API, and I want to get a, do we just have like a, just need like reference docs, REST API endpoints, actions, user migrations, user actions. Oh boy. Building, no, I just want like REST API. Can I just look at the REST API? Oh my goodness. And then I want, oh, there's a drop down over here. So I want users, get a user, someone with a GitHub account. Okay, so then theoretically I should be able to just do this. Do I need a token for this even? I don't, because I can get the login and the avatar URL. So we're going to do this to get the username. Oh, but what happens if it's an org? What if it's an org that I'm not in? What's the name of an org that I'm not in? Okay, so it just works. Great. Wonderful news. That's the best kind of news. So then this code's about to get a lot simpler. If the response is not okay, we're going to return how's this work down here? Just do one of these. Or is it status or status code? Status code. And we will send response.status text as the body if something is wrong. If something is not wrong, we're going to get the user. And the user is going to be the result of running await.response.json. So that'll give us our actual user. And then I want to, down here, I guess just return our user. And let's see if that works, because that would be neat. Sure does. All right, so different issue where it's attempting to get, so it's trying to do something else here. So we'll have to figure out what that is. And we also didn't get our URL properly. So let's go figure out what's missing there. That was in, nope, that was in init. So we get the user data, and then we are set recipient user. That's probably what's happening here. Let's do that. avatar. And that's not the piece that we wanted. So let's look at avatar URL snake case. At which point we do one of these, we do one of those, we do one of these, we do one of those. Business time. We're in business. Okay, so one problem solved. We've drastically simplified this code too, which is great. So we can delete all of this. And we don't need that auth anymore because we never really needed auth in the first place in this one. We don't need any of the Netlify graph stuff. And so that is one fixed, simplified function. So then we got the other piece that we need to do, which is after we have updated our user, then more stuff happens, and that's the part we got to figure out. So we set the recipient user. Does this like save somewhere? Because what was the part that just broke when we, or did nothing break? We add our recipient, it says success. Everything is fine. And then when I hit ship it, then it breaks. So that's the part where our Supabase stuff is broken. And that happens at create. Where is create? Create goes to save card. Let's look at save card. And short ID, query string, Supabase. So then I'm going to need to get a Supabase URL and a service API key. So we'll do that in a minute. Then we're going to get our okay, we can fix that later. So we get the Supabase stuff. And then theoretically, excuse me. Oh yeah, remove the default username value. That's a good call. Let's fix that real quick. What happens if you just make this request? Does that fail or does that give you not found? And did that actually come back with an error? I imagine it did. That would be a weird thing for... So, okay, so that comes back as a 404, so that'll actually trigger properly and we'll just get a 404. So I don't need to add extra error handling for that. And then what? Actually, I should explicitly empty string that because I don't know if that'll stringify to like /undefined, which might be somebody's GitHub username. So we wouldn't want to, that would be weird. So we'll default it to an empty string so that we get a 404. So yeah, good. All right, back to saving our card here. We can, I think we just create our Supabase stuff. So let's get into Supabase. Is that just going to let me in? Wait, how do I just... I think I'm already in. Here's the project. Here are my databases. How do I switch to... Oh, here. Literally right in front of my face. Okay. So I don't think this will hide the tokens. So I'm going to pull this off screen, but what I need to do is get... See, it's showing stuff. It was only partial, so don't try to guess the other 600 characters. But I'm gonna pull this off screen, grab those values, and update my. Actually, I don't need to pull this off screen. I'm just gonna stop sharing my screen while I do this. Let me grab my project URL, and that needs to go into the Supabase. It's the database URL. I'm going to edit that for all deploy contexts and save. And then I'm going to grab my API key and this is like a service key. Oh, I need the service key. That's the one that I actually need. So the service key copied, then go into Netlify and update that key here. And save. Okay, so let me go close that Supabase stuff so I don't accidentally show that on screen. Or I guess instead, I'm going to go to the database itself so we can see the database. Oh, you know what'll be interesting is if this will configure itself or if I have to like figure out the schema and put it back together. Wait, Supabase from Valentine. Okay, so bringing back the screen here. I think we should at least get a different error now because we're going to find out if this is going to give me if it'll just like configure the Supabase stuff or if I need to go add all of these fields to a Supabase table called Valentine cards. So let's try this. I'm going to okay, so there's Lynn. I'm going to ship it and bad credentials. You have bad credentials. What? Credentials on GitHub? Responded with if error, and the error is from Supabase, and my credentials. Okay, let me hide the screen again. I got to check these credentials and make sure that they're working. On the Supabase dashboard, I'm looking at my project settings. I've got my API. So this is my project URL. And if I go to Netlify and I look at this, it is, 100% the wrong thing. I like copy pasted the wrong value. Okay, well, that explains a lot. Okay, also explains why I was getting a GitHub error. Is because I copy pasted the GitHub REST API in and it like didn't copy when I tried to copy the Supabase project. So cool. All right, easy peasy. I like it when it's something like that. So then let me bring the screen back. And let's see if this works now. So we're going to come back here. Going to get Lynn. We're going to ship it. No, don't you do that. Oh, I have to restart the project. That's why. Okay, restarting the project with my updated credentials that are no longer GitHub credentials. And now we've got our project. And we're going to refresh the page to make sure. Try this one more time. And this time, it's going to work. Okay, so stuff happened. Different stuff broke. So now we need to go figure out what that different stuff is. And it says error saving card data with no response whatsoever, which means I need to. The error is just nothing. Okay. Did anything show up in Supabase though? No. And I have a hunch it's because we need to actually create this table. So let's do that. It's called Valentine's cards. And I don't know what this means, so I'm going to turn it. Well, no, I don't want that. No, I don't want that. So leave that on. And now I have to add all these types. Okay, well, just means the user owns the row. Okay, I'm good with that. So we've got a path. And I'm just going to make assumptions about what these are and probably call them all text. Got a card variant. Why don't I actually bring this over while we do this? We're going to take this over here, and I'm going to collapse that and collapse this. So now we can just go a little faster. Sender or card variant, sender name, sender avatar, recipient name, recipient avatar, recipient can be sponsored. Oh, that's an interesting thing that I didn't consider if we're actually getting that data. I'm going to assume that we are getting it, but we'll find out once we actually try. So the variant, I don't know what this is, so I'm going to leave this one as text as well. Name we know is text. Avatar, I think, is also text. And can be sponsored. Is that one supposed to be Boolean? Great question. Let's assume yes, and we'll find out later. Okay, so with that being saved, then can I just resubmit? Invalid input syntax for type Boolean. Okay, so we're missing where the card comes in. So let's go back here and figure out. Let's see, customize. Nope. So once we get the set recipient user, avatar can be sponsored. Document query selector, recipient can be sponsored. Okay. What is this? Viewer can sponsor. So let's go back to the api.github.com. Hireable. Type site admin. Email hireable. Okay, let's look at. We might have to hit a different thing because I don't know what the sponsorship thing is. All right, let's split these up again and let's do a little sleuthing to see if we can figure out just what's going on. Just how this works. I want to find the sponsor stuff, which maybe is contextual information. No, that doesn't seem like what I want. Sponsors. I don't really just want to see it on here. I want to like API check sponsorship status. That's not what I want. I want check runs, API for sponsorship, sponsors API. Sponsorable sponsors connection. Don't make me do GraphQL. I mean, I can do GraphQL, but like, it's so much easier if we can just do this. Sponsorable is implemented by has sponsors listing. Maybe this is just something I have to enable in the app, like as permissions. Starring watching profile, maybe. Anybody remember if it's contextual to the viewer? Well, it shouldn't. No, because this should just be whether or not they have like here's what I want. What I want to know is like if you go to GitHub and you open up the Learn with Jason org, for example, there is a sponsor button, right? If you go to my account, there is not. Because I set up GitHub sponsors for my org, but not for my personal account. And then if we go over to, for example, who's somebody you can sponsor Anthony, right? So you can click this to do that. But you can't on mine, right? And so I think that's the piece I'm curious about is like, how does one... So if I go to Anthony's, we don't get anything about sponsors. And I'm wondering if that's a permission or if it's a different API endpoint. And that's the part I don't know. And it could also be that like, is anything in here? GitHub REST API sponsorable. Sponsors API. That's not really what I want, though. I just want like... So you can only do this through the GraphQL. using the Explorer, GraphQL Explorer. What if I don't? Yeah, this sucks because I don't want to. I mean, I guess I can use the GraphQL stuff, but it just feels like a lot. So I can do like, where's the thingy? Want to run a query. Query I want to run is user. And I want their avatar URL. I want their name. Login. What's this? Okay. Then I want to viewer can sponsor. I guess that's what I need. It's just kind of a bummer that I'm going to have to swap this over to GitHub or to GraphQL just to get that detail. So for me to send that, I need to, let's get to the GraphQL API, forming calls, GitHub app. OAuth app, that's what I want. So authorizing. I've already done that part. I want to see how to send. I just need to send a bearer token, authorization bearer. Fine. Okay. So it was all going so well. Let's go back. What do I need? Login name, avatar URL. Okay, so I also need to get the name. So let's go to this user function and this beautiful, easy thing that we had. It's going to get a little more complicated, but that is okay because we are professionals and we don't let problems stop us. We push through. So we get our name, and then we're going to add our login, and then get variables, and that's going to include the login, which will be the username. And then we need to send those to the URL. I guess kind of do this all in one chunk if I want to. Let me duplicate this, and we'll do this, and then put this down here, and we're going to send in the method is going to be post. The headers are going to include an authorization header, which I'm going to have to figure out where the thing is, but that's going to be the token. So I got to get that token, which I think was in my cookies. Let's look. Application. And we've got a bunch of junk. So none of those are my GitHub tokens. Fine. So I'll have to figure out where the app is storing that, but we can get to that later. And then let's see. Check his profile incognito. Oh, you're saying that like it's possible that you're just not allowed to sponsor somebody. Yeah, it still says you can sponsor. Like I'm not logged in and it still says you can sponsor. And then it says like you must be logged in to sponsor. So I guess what I'm looking for, and this is the part that seems frustrating, is like I'm not looking for like, can I pay through the REST API? I'm just looking for like, does this user have GitHub sponsors enabled? And like my ability to sponsor them is sort of separate from that. So that's, and maybe that's just like not the way they're thinking about it. And that's fine. How are things going? Things are going. We're definitely making progress. We've got login running. We've got the user lookup running in REST, but we're missing a piece of information that apparently is only available in GraphQL. So we are in the process of fixing that. And in order to fix that, I need to go look at this. So we send in, right. I remember how this works. So we're going to send in the body, and the body is going to be JSON stringify. It's been a while since I've sent a GraphQL call, but we're gonna send in, instead of me doing it like this, we're just gonna grab this bit, get that out of there. And then we're gonna drop this in here. Then we add the variables, and the variables include our login here. So we're gonna get rid of that. And that, if I'm correct, will be, once I figure out where the token is, a valid call. So let's just double check that. And we're going to send it to API/GraphQL. I guess that doesn't need to be. What am I doing? There we go. Doesn't need to be one of those anymore. And now we have to find the token. So to find that token, we are going to, how does this get sent? Okay, how are we saving this? The data is probably the more important thing. So we get our token cookie, which gets saved as NFGH session. So then for me to get parse event headers cookie. So I think maybe I can also look at the GitHub. Let's go with source control and look at what I did on here, because we might, yes, we can just get that token from right here. Give it back. I want to revert only this change. Are you going to let me revert just this change? Can you please just let me copy that line so I don't have to? Oh, you suck. Copy change line 7. Okay. I guess I should start with this one. Change line 6. And then we're going to go to user and that. Then we'll go back one more time and we're going to copy this one. And then we're going to go back one more time and drop this. I'm going to call this token instead. And to get that, parse came out of cookie. So let's, okay. So now, if I have done this all correctly, when I go to do a user lookup, we will get the lookup should succeed in terms of the network, but I think it's going to break our input here. Let's see. 401. Okay. Well, all right. Give me a second. I'm going to refill my water and use the restroom, and then we're going to come back and see how much further we can get. I'll be right back. All right. All right. Here. Okay. Random question. So the new season of 4 Devs 1 App. That will drop in 3 weeks. And you know what? Now is as good a time as any to make the announcement that we're actually doing a giveaway with this one. So let me show y'all something that is not done yet, but I'm going to show you anyways. Get in here, open up no, not that. I'm going to open up a new one of these, and I'm going to use that to open the Learn with Jason site, which I will then fire this up. So check this out. For this episode of 4 Web Devs 1 App, we're actually doing a giveaway. So I'm going to give away this Gather collection desk. And if you want to win this, you just have to play the game, right? So the way that the 4 Web Devs 1 App show works, if you haven't seen it, let me get the path here. So this is 4 Web Devs 1 App. And the format of the show is that me and 3 of my friends get together. We all get a prompt, and we use a tool. Like, there's a tool we have to use as part of the build, and we just build whatever we can in about 4 hours is the guideline. So traditionally, the way we've done this show is we've run it remotely. So each of the devs kind of builds on their own, and then we all record a video, and then like we do a video call at the end where we talk things through. It was really fun. I have loved this series. It's been an absolute blast. But I wanted to level it up. So yesterday we filmed the first episode in person. So I had Lizzie Siegel, I had Jack Harrington, and I had Chance Strickland come to the studio here in Portland. And then that episode was sponsored by DataStax. They wanted us to use their AstraDB product. And so Carter Rabassa from the DataStax team came out and act as like an advisor, because we're also doing stuff that I didn't know how to do. Like you have to use AstraDB as part of the build. And that is the prompt is build an app using AI that isn't a chatbot, like specifically. So if you want to play along, you've got until May 10th to build an app that meets the prompt. So build an app using AI that's not a chatbot. Use AstraDB as it's a vector database. It's like vectors. There's so much jargon in AI. So a vector database is just a way of, like, when you feed data into an LLM, it makes a vector to say, like, it basically quantifies it on a bunch of different values and spits out like hundreds of numbers and says, this is what I think, this is where I think this belongs in like whatever space it's tracking things. And then it does it with a bunch of information. And based on those dimensions, it's able to say, well, these things are similar. And that's how LLMs seem smart, is they have lots and lots and lots of context, and they use that context to choose things that are similar to other things. And it's sort of it's a really advanced pattern matching thing, which is why they feel like human brains, because that's what we do, is like we're thinking about all these different dimensions of a thing, and we can group them based on different attributes without having to like list out all those attributes ahead of time. I digress. So the thing that makes this interesting is that you can use a vector database for not even AI things. Like Jack Harrington's app was super clever. I'm not going to spoil it, but he didn't actually use AI. He just used numbers in the vector database as a way to do similarity searches. Really, really clever, like truly an amazing app. So if you want to play along, use AstraDB, build a web app that uses AI but is not a chatbot, and submit it by the 10th. It's got to be a public GitHub repo, and you need to deploy the app. It's AI, so I understand, like, if you don't need to necessarily like have an active key. I just need to see that the app functions. That's like the big thing. And so you can make it so that either I can add an API key or whatever, but I don't have the time to like download everybody's repo and like update environment variables to validate. I just need to see the app running. If you submit by May 10th, we're going to do a random drawing, and I'm going to give away this kit. And this is like a $900 desk kit. I'm very jealous of it. I do not have it myself. I'm trying to get one. But it's dope, right? So anyways, this is something I've been wanting to do for a really long time, is to try to make these more community oriented. If you want to play along, the easiest way would be to get into the Discord. And I will drop a link. I think we already saw a link dropped earlier. Thank you for sharing that. But if you get into the Learn with Jason Discord, we'll just set up a channel for it, I think, for the builds. And anybody who wants to play along will have the instructions and the submission form and all that stuff in there. But it'll be a good place to, if you want to ask questions, if you want to discuss your project or kick around ideas. But this is hopefully the first of many of these, because I want more people to build things just for fun. And the giveaway is like, the giveaway is just a fun thing. It's not the reason to do this. The reason to do this is because it's a chance for us to all build something and play together. And if you turn in your app ahead of time, like if you turn in your app before the deadline, there is also a chance that we'll actually feature it in the episode itself. Like, still trying to work out exactly how editing works. So don't. We'll see how this goes after the first episode, but I believe I'll be able to take those apps, put together a little blurb, and kind of like put it into the edit to sort of feature folks as they turn them in. So if you want to play along, I really hope you do. This is a fun opportunity, so please do take advantage of that. And maybe you win a desk. Caveat: sorry, caveat. I talked to my lawyers about this and they said I cannot run this outside of the US right now. So the giveaway is only valid for US residents, and I'm very sorry about that. I'm working on what the legal requirements are to be able to do giveaways in other countries. It's just super complicated because there's a lot of ways that people use giveaways to do shady stuff. So you just have to make sure that you're complying with local laws, and we just have to look at a lot of local laws. So everybody can participate. Everybody can be featured in like a showcase of apps and in the episode, but only US residents can win the desk accessory kit. And hopefully that'll change in future episodes. But for now, that's what I got. All right, y'all, let me get back on track. So I'll post this blog more formally. I'll get the channel set up in the Discord. This is the first time I'm doing this, so probably going to be a little bit bumpy. I'm managing it myself, so it's going to be extra bumpy because that's just a bunch of chaos waiting to happen. But I'm really excited about it. It's something I've wanted to do for a long time, and I am really looking forward to seeing, what does a whole community do if they're able to kind of play and build. Okay, back to our regularly scheduled programming. Let's get into this API call that's failing. So what we have done, and I guess now's a good time to recap where we're at. So the current version of oss.love is broken because it's using something called Netlify Graph, which was a beta tool that has now reached end of life, and it's just turned off. And so that means that right now, when you try to search something, it just does nothing. You just kind of end up without a result, which is a bummer. So we want to fix that. Lynn has open sourced the project. Not that one. Here, this one. This is the open source repo, so I can share that. And we are in the process. We've get into our Valentine's card here. So our insert is breaking. Another interesting thing. Okay, so we have our Valentine cards here. We have, oh no, it's not breaking because we never got the sponsorship data. So where we're at the moment is we've created our table in Supabase. We got the environment variables set up. We have updated the environment variables in Netlify to be the things that we need. So I can collapse these. And right, so these are the environment variables that we are using. And all of that is leading to us having this somewhat working project. Now, the issue that we have right now is that we got this working with the REST API, with GitHub's REST API, but then it doesn't function because we need to know whether or not it's possible to sponsor the person that we're thanking. Because we thought it would be nice if you're sending an OSS Valentine, that you would also then want to, see like, hey, can I throw $5 to this person to say thank you for their work on open source? And, we need to know from GitHub whether or not they're able to do that, or else we're showing a button that might be dead. So in order to do that, unfortunately, we have to send it as a GitHub GraphQL request, which kind of bums me out, but it is okay. And I want to see. I feel like my authorization header didn't make it in here. Oh, wait. GitHub session, and then it's got like a weird access token thing. Okay, I think I need to like parse this token and then do something with it. So let's look one more time at what the original code did. So we go into the functions, we go into the callback, and the callback sets the token cookie. Where's the token cookie? Here. And it's stringifying this data, and the data includes extra stuff that we don't necessarily need. So how are they using it then? They use it in here. I guess it would be in this one. They get the auth, and then it was auth.access token. Okay. So that then seems like maybe the way we should handle this, and that should make our lives easier. So I'm going to turn that draft off. I'm going to come in here, and we are JSON parsing, and then it's access token. Let's try that one more time, and hopefully this just works. So add recipient. We get to try again. Wait, that one though. Variable login is used by anonymous query but not declared. What? Headers. Preview. Didn't I sent that? Query variables. Okay, I think I'm getting my structure wrong. So let's go back and variables. Why? Example query. Yeah. Show me one with a variable, you dorks. Variables. My var. That one's, yeah, that's an object. So why doesn't this work then? Username. So then what is happening? Okay. Can you work in teams? That's a great question. I mean, I guess there's no reason that you couldn't. I only have the one prize though, so that would be the challenge. So yeah, prize is US only for now. And yeah, that's the other thing that I'm hoping is that this is like a good way for people who are looking to build their portfolios, but like don't always have an idea of what they want to build. Hopefully this is a chance to sort of have a group of people that you can, you know, kick ideas around with and come up with a fun project. So dibs on the laptop. Yeah, you'll have to split it up. Are mods eligible? Yeah, mods are eligible. Yeah, no, Lynn, I think at this point, all I need to do is figure out what the right format is for this, and then we'll be okay. Because I've got everything else that I need. Now I'm just not sending the right stuff. And also, hello, Lynn. How are you? Yeah, I think if you work that out with your team and you want to work together and all that, because remember the giveaway is random. I'm like, it's not based on like, you know, I'm not doing it qualitatively because that introduces a whole bunch of legal stuff. So I'm not doing it that way. It's just going to be if you send in a valid project, I'm going to do a raffle basically. So yeah, that's sort of the goal here. All right. Let me figure out why my variables aren't working. So I've got my body.stringify, right? So that's the variables should be going in. And the reason they're not is what? Maybe I can just console log this whole thing and make sure that it's actually doing what I want. Because that then should be like add. And so it sends back variable login is used but not declared. Oh. Okay. I remember now how GraphQL works. So the problem isn't that it's that you have to actually name your variables. So you have login, and login is a string. Is it capital? So then I don't need, all of this is fine. Everything that I was doing is fine. Then I just need to take this and put it in the actual query. And let's get rid of the console log, and then let's see if that's actually how GraphQL works. And this time, nullability mismatch on variable login and argument login. Hey, there we go. All right, so now we've got that set up. And then if we try this for somebody like Anthony Fu, who does accept sponsorship, we get back a true. Okay, so that's data. And now I just need to get it mapped in the right way. So we're currently, what comes back? We need to check what the actual response is. We get data.user, and then we get that stuff. So I need to return back not, this is data. Right? And then I need to data.user stringify. And then we need to go back into this init and we change these values again. All right, those are going to be okay. But we need to set the, where do we actually get this data from? Is it up here? Yes. Okay. So then that like almost worked. Okay. Unexpected. Init 93. API user. Okay. What am I doing wrong here? We're sending back data.user. Nope, we're not sending back data.user. Now we are. This will work. There we go. Okay, so the problem was that it wasn't that the variable was called data, it's that it returns a property called data that then has a property called user. So I needed to be data.data, or what I did was destructure, so that we're now it's the return value was what I was calling data before. Now we get the data property from out of it. And now we have access to our data. Okay, so much closer, much closer. Let's ship it. Okay, so some things happened. And now if we try to go, we are at this card. Okay. If I refresh. Yeah, we're back in business. Okay, so then let's go back. And I'm going to actually go forward. I want to copy this and open it in an incognito window. Yes. Look at it go. Why are you a goofy size? Okay, so this is the logged out view. That's working again. And now if we create one for, like, let's do one for Anthony, because we know that is a profile that allows sponsorship. And now you've got a sponsorship bucket down there, and that will take you to the profile. Look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, and these are now working. Okay, so we're back in business. We got ourselves a functional site. So let's do a little bit of cleaning here. I'm gonna commit my changes. How are we doing on time? Woo, killing it. Barely half the time. Okay, so on our auth check, we got, what is this? Oh no. White space. It's doing the crap. I didn't need to modify all of the code. I should probably fix my white space problems. So this was before 2 spaces, I think. Yeah, so let me change, create a prettier config. We're going to put that in here. And that way I can make sure that I'm not messing up that. And so then if I open these ones that I changed, like the auth check, and I save again, then this should be significantly less. Oh, come on. Don't be like that. Okay, so we'll further fix this and say single quote true. Then we'll come back in here and save again. And now we only get the changes I actually made because we took out that console.cookies. Then we've got some errors, but we're not worried about that just yet. We'll go fix that stuff later. Then if we correct these, we'll get rid of this. Yeah, so a little bit of spacing stuff that's just going to happen regardless, but we can at least fix this bit. And we don't need that client ID anymore. Don't really need that anymore. Okay. Then we've got our user. This was the big change. Just save again and make sure that everything is doing what we want. So we've got, we took out the default so that it actually 404s if you enter without a name. We get out the token. That one, honestly, you know, we should fix that. That seems like the right call. Okay, so we've got our auth, and then we are getting rid of all the Netlify graph stuff. We're replacing it with this GraphQL call, which means that we can get rid of a bunch of the extra stuff that was happening. And ultimately, we end up with the user data. And then in our init.js, once I get rid of all my white space stuff that was there, we have some cleanup on the button because there were some pieces there that were formatted non-prettier friendly-ish. And then a bunch of, so you'll get rid of that bit there. What's happening? Okay, so that's just cleaning up the single quotes, double quotes. We didn't really change any of this file. We just kind of like messed with the white space, didn't we? Because at the end of the day, I ended up reverting that one change that I had made. So I'm not going to commit this one yet. I'm going to commit these 3 and this one. And we're going to say feature migrate off Netlify graph, and that's actually it. Okay. Then I think I'm just going to go through the Explorer, or let's prettier like format. Are there other commands? Can I format the entire project? Format, nah, it's fine. We'll just do it the other way. So what I can do is I can just open each of these and save really quick, and it'll clean up the formatting for us. And then that way, in the future, if anybody touches this, the white space has been dealt with, and we don't have to wonder why we got miscellaneous things. We'll just do like a formatting commit. It's probably an easier way to format the whole project, but I don't care. There aren't enough files for me to care about. Toml change was interesting. Okay, so that should be, make sure all of these are also updated. Okay. Then if we go back to our source control, we'll just see that like everything has little white space tweaks. So I'm just going to do one of these and say chore prettier. Oh, wait. We don't want to track this. Everything is saved. Okay, so that's everything. What changed here? Oh, we just didn't have that removed. Okay, so now we can do a prettier run. Okay, we got everything. This I want to add to get ignored. Is that just a thing I can do? It sure is. That's great. Okay. Then, theoretically, when I push this change, the site should rebuild. And this should build really fast. Yeah, good call, Jim. Prettier has a write from the CLI. That's a good idea. I should have done that. All right. So if we did that right, oss.love should now, uh-oh, what didn't work and why? We are going to try that again. Fetch is not defined. What? Now what are we doing? What environment is Netlify shipping in now? Did it change something? Like, why on earth would we get fetch as a built-in? Cool. Let's find out what's going on with Netlify functions. So oh, they updated the whole syntax to be actual browser standards. Okay. So I like that. I kind of wish I didn't have to rewrite all of my functions. And also, look, I see you doing the thing right now. What version of Node did it do? Initializing Node. You're using the build for Notion 16. If you want to keep your build, update your build Node.js version. Is that just a thing I have to... Functions region, configure. I think that'll solve that problem, actually. So then let's go here. We'll trigger the deploy because Node 16 didn't have fetch built in, so that makes sense. And I think this site was built again 3 years ago ish. I don't know if Lynn's still here. Do you remember, was this 21 or 22, Lynn? But this, when you build a site on Netlify, they kind of like, they don't migrate things for you because if you are relying on a behavior of Node 16 and they force you up to Node 20 and all your stuff broke, that would be bad. So they make changes like that opt in, which does make sense. I just didn't realize this one was pinned. So let's try again. What are you doing to me? What is it now? Same error. Are we... Do we still end up on Node 20? I'm gonna do a full clear cache and let's just do this all from scratch because that feels like something went weird. 2022 site, okay. And if this one doesn't work, then I'm gonna honestly probably just install Node Fetch and be done with it because we could, well, I don't know, we got enough time. Maybe we just modernize this site. It's not very big. But I'd like to get it working before we start messing with it. So maybe we install Node Fetch, get it running, and then we'll see if we can modernize it so that if I run out of time, it's not still broken. Okay, so that's published. We're going to refresh the page, add a recipient, and it still doesn't like fetch. Okay, so that's irritating, but I know how to solve this. Then we're going to go to user, and we are going to import fetch from node fetch. Is that supposed to be one of these? No, let's... Okay, then we're going to go back to cards here. Let's grab a different one. Okay, so now it's broken. I suspect because I used that wrong. And if we go look at the logs, it says import node fetch. Fetch is not a function, so it is probably top level like that. Hey, okay. So then we're going to just update all these. We'll say fix polyfill fetch, sync it, come back over here, watch it deploy. Oh, I love this, Linda. This is great. Yeah, definitely share. Make it work, then make it right, I think is a great way to go. My new setup because of my notebook here. Yeah, this is, hey, I'm not going to show you because there's all sorts of stuff that is not really shareable on here, but can you see how much writing is on this? This is how I keep my to-do list. Is I just write it out by hand. So this is a to-do list, and then this is when I rewrote my to-do list 2 days later. And you'll notice this notebook is as big as my hand, and it is completely full with 2 columns, and that's what my life looks like right now in terms of to-dos. You know, I like the idea of a remarkable, but here's what I found about myself is that the act of writing on paper for some reason causes I have built some set of habits around thinking through things while writing them, and that causes me to actually like do the work. I don't know. I don't know why it causes things to stick in my brain, but it does. Okay, we did it. Let's ship it. It is shipped, and now you can all go and see the site. Okay. And let's just make sure that it's all the right things are pulling up. And do we get our open graph image? And you better work. Oh, you better work. Don't make me fight you. And I talked all that crap about it working and it doesn't work. Content, Twitter image. Oh, is that failing? Interesting. That's like straight up failing. Now, why is that failing? Headers. It's being sent back as an image JPEG. Okay. So let's go fix that. Then if we have time, we'll come back to it. So I like that. Yeah, I think stuff like that is great. Stuff in Notion. Yeah, I think stuff in Notion is good. Twitter image stuff is being weird, but in this case, it's not. I can't blame Twitter. This one is our open graph image doing something weird. So we've got that buffer from. Oh no. Oh, wait. Okay, I think I know what's happening here. So this is, we're just in the wrong, thing. Well, actually, console log OG URL. So I should have this in the Netlify function logs. So let's see if it's something different. Like, is it breaking? Is it giving us? So it is giving us the URL. So then the question becomes, which part of this is broken? Page cannot be found for. Okay, so something broke. Guessing those are the encoded. Okay, so are these gone? That's actually what I'm wondering, is if the Cloudinary box for Netlify got cleared out. But let's find out. So theoretically speaking, if I get rid of all the Cloudinary, Netlify is the bucket name, image upload, folder name. Yeah, so these are gone now. Which means if I look at these, oh, but are these all uploaded here? Let's go to Cloudinary. I'm going to log in with my oss.love account. And then let's go to our folders. Okay. So we're like missing. So what was it called before? It was called oss-love. So we're going to create oss-love. And now I think we might have a small problem, which is that these are all SVGs. Okay, let's find this in the Finder. And I want to look in here. PNGs. This is what I needed. Okay. So then if these, oh, it did the, there's this thing that I hate that it does where it's being helpful. It's a reasonable setting. I don't want the plan details. I want the asset management upload. And I don't want you to add stuff. I want you to just keep the name. Automatic backup. I don't really want that. Media library. So use file name or externally defined public ID is on. Unique file name. Random characters are added. We don't want that. If the same public ID is uploaded, we do want to upload. And Lynn, you can change any of these that you want later. But for now, this will allow me to upload this folder. And I won't have to go in and rename all of the files. So I'm going to save that. And then theoretically, when I get to my assets, go into folders here, into oss.love. I just like select all, get rid of them. And then we can try again. And theoretically, they're not going to change their names this time. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so then that means that when I just copy this, when I come out here where this was broken, and I put this in, which is the cloud name here, it works now. Okay, great. So then we do this, and something didn't work. I need to probably enable fetching. So let's get into the settings again. Go with strict transformations, allowed fetch domains, oss.love. If empty, fetching is allowed from any restricted video types. Authenticated APIs or signed URLs. I guess this one would be, I want it to be able to get the URLs. So it would be these here. So we need that to be allowed. Restricted from use with dynamic URLs, only be created or signed URLs. Okay, so I think that'll work then. So we should be able to do the dynamic fetching. No, that's not it. Let me maybe just turn this off. Try one more time. Okay, so now they work and we can do the fetching and everything. So that should solve that problem once I update the Cloudinary bucket name. So that's going to be here. And we need to Oops. Need to replace that with our bucket name, which is this one. Okay. And let's just do a quick find in files. And we are looking for /netlify. That's all in package.json. Great. So we've fixed all the problems. Okay. So if I am correct, when we commit this, and let's actually look at source control. The only change we made was updating the cloud name of Netlify here. Then when I say fix, use new Cloudinary account, and we'll commit that. And then now we actually have the Valentines and we're able to deliver those with the custom thingies. So let's go watch this build. And once it has built, here we go. Okay, so we're going to set up these, going to ship it. It gives us the URL, and that URL is the one that we're currently on. So if we look at the elements, go into the head, then we get our shorthand for the Open Graph image, which should do the thing. Okay, now it's fixed for real. And that gives us, yeah. So that gives us about 45 minutes to try to modernize the code base, which I actually think we can do. So code base is clean right now. We're going to open up the folders view, and then I just get to delete all of this. Look in here and see what these are. These are partials. How does that work? That must be an 11D thing. Then I just want to see what I would like to do is update this to use the new Netlify function syntax. So let's go look at what that syntax is. Is there a link to the docs in here? Those are log drains. No? No? Okay. Somewhere in here is going to be a functions. Here we go. Get started. So the new, you get a web platform request object and a Netlify specific context object. I like that. We get types. Good. This is good. I like this. So now instead of having to do goofy stuff with like specific vendor syntax, we're using actual web standards. And I do really like that. So what that means from our standpoint is that theoretically, again, we should be able to export default async, and then we get a request and context, but I don't know that we need the context. Oh, it's just got the cookies in it. Hell yeah, we do want that context. And I guess that means I need to get npm install nullify functions at latest. And then that should allow me to get this from import type context from nullify functions. And this now should give, why, what are you doing? Okay, I'm going to save this and I'm just going to reload the whole window because TypeScript has like given up on me. Can I have my type hints, please? Yes. Okay. Thank you. All right. So now we have actual details about what's in here. And I should, inside of this one, be able to get like the request, I think is just going to be the same general deal. Path? No. What is the request URL? But then for the cookies, this is great though, that we can like just grab that. Oh, that's good. That's really good. So then here we'll be able to get, that's, we're gonna have to verify that this one actually worked, but turns the URL of a request as a string. And is that the full URL? It is the full URL, so I'm going to actually get the new URL and then get the path name. And then we'll split that. Dot split. Okay. So that gets us the equivalent outcome. And then we can grab the auth is going to be JSON parse, and that's going to be context cookies dot get nf GitHub session. And after that, I think everything is the same, except for our return, because we're going to return a full response, not just an object. And so the return is going to be a response and what's missing? Let me just look at an example here. The response just gets the body by default. And then you send a status as the second thing. Okay, so we're going to do response. And then this is a status, and we get rid of the body. Oh, and I need the new keyword. Okay, so that refactors that, and then this one should be new response, and we send in the stringified, stringified user, and then this becomes status, not status code. Bada bing, bada boom. All right, so then should be able to delete this. And remember, we've got our Git history, so we can always go back and try again if this doesn't work. But should now be functional. So let's just try it. So we're going to netlify dev. We're going to see if it wants to yell at me for the netlify functions version. I do think it's a little old. So let's just try this button. And it failed. And it failed because why? Lambda handler. Okay, so our netlify version is out of date. So let's... I think I missed when you asked. Which share link are you talking about, Charles? That is not the right version. Oh, just to see it and test it. Yeah. Let me... And then maybe this will actually work now. Well, it does work, but Twitter hasn't updated, so we'll have to wait on that a little bit. What's happening, Exceldro? How you doing? All right, so am I on the latest version now? Still not on the latest. Oh no, which version of Node am I using? How about we do this? Let's npm install as a dev dependency netlify CLI at latest. And then we can see in here that we should be on version 17. I have it clearly installed somewhere weird. But now if I do it like this, actually, why don't I npx ntlv, it runs the local version because npx will look for an installed package first. So now if I run npx ntl dev, it's going to use the latest version of the CLI, which I believe should work, but it's not working, and it's not working because function user has returned an unexpected token. Okay, so that means that I made a mistake, not that the code is broken. That's good. And if I just return it like that, does it like automatically do the thing? And now it says unexpected token, not valid JSON. But it is valid JSON, right? What would not be JSON about that? That is function rename. Oh, jeez. Fine. Okay. That's like, it's trying to return something weird. And it shouldn't be doing that. There's our request. We'll just log the GraphQL response to start, and let's see if we're getting a valid response. And it says no. So this function is just straight failing. I'm going to restart it in hopes that the change there is doing a thing. Okay, so that's still exploding. And waiting for framework. Everything's doing its thing. Buffer is deprecated, so we needed to use buffer from. Okay, so we'll fix that. Has returned an error. Line 5? Does it maybe it auto parses that? No. Got way closer though. Then what do we get? We get back. Now that is like, is that double encoded or something? No, that should be. Do I have to URL decode it? Decode URI component. Then do you look like JSON? Let me stop logging this response. That'll make life easier. Now we can parse it. Okay, so I was just missing a decode in here. Okay. All right. So that function is officially modernized. Not a lot changed, but we lost 2 dependencies, so no more node fetch and no more needing the cookie library from node. I mean, this is almost certainly a wrapper over the cookie library, but it's kind of nice being able to get that. Then we get this nicer, I like this better because this is like a web standard, copy paste this anywhere, and it just does what browsers do. That's great. So good. Happy there. Let's see if we can do the same thing with some of these other ones. Oh, these are builders. Yeah, this one's a builder, so I probably don't want to mess with this. What is that? The saving the card. That one is modernizable. And then these callbacks and stuff will be as well. Yeah, let's just start it at the top and see if we can see how far we can get. Because I think this will just start working. So let's export default async. And we need the request, which is going to be a request. So this is going to be const code equals. This is going to be a little bit different. So we're going to get the URL is going to be new URL rec URL. Because there's not like a rec query params, like, yeah. So we get that, and then we're going to say the code is URL dot search params get code. Then this stuff we can just grab out. Why are you mad? Oh, you're mad because of these. So we'll fix these. Like, we could do a lot of things here. Basically, we could start throwing errors and so on and so forth. This one we can probably just like get over to here. And now we've got our data. We can get our token cookie. And so this part, I think we get to modernize this. I think the way we do that is we now get to set context is going to be context out of netlify functions. Both of these are types, so we're going to import them as types. Now we get to do a context cookies set, and we set the whole cookie. What is the whole cookie? The whole cookie is name. Okay, so this is the name. Then set the rest of these. And we're going to say same site strict. What are you mad about? Values. Oh, value. Okay. So that should do that. Then we set our return URL, and this one we're going to get our cookies. So we'll modernize this. And we'll say if event headers cookie, we probably, let's see, we want to get context cookies get nf auth path. So we'll say auth path equals just like kind of oddly set up. Okay, so auth path, and then we can say if auth path, then we will set this to auth path. should get us fixed up there. And then we're going to say new response. So we can drop this out and we can drop this out. And our token cookie, I don't need to do this anymore because that'll already be set by this, I think. So then I can delete this. Let me come up here and we need far fewer things to make this work. And let's just try that. So this is the auth callback. So probably need to modernize this over to the MTS flow. And then if I log out and I log back in, RFC cannot contain character backslash. What do you suppose that means I did? Doesn't give me a line of like my code. This is the extra bits. But so when I go to set this, I am setting it as JSON stringify data. Do we get any handlers for the cookies? Because that would be neat. URL pattern, route requests, yeah. Context object. Let's get into the cookies. When I want to set a cookie, cookie has a value. The value is a string. Now, why wouldn't... I need to decode. Yeah, basic. I could base 64 it. Maybe I can like encode URI component and that'll kind of do the two-way on it. I don't know. Let's try it and see what happens. Oh, it worked. Weird. Okay, so logging out, reloading. I'm logged out. Logging in. Unexpected token. Not valid JSON. So that broke the callback. Oh, you know what I didn't check? I didn't check where that actually broke. Because I don't know if it broke in the callback or in the other thing. So let's try that one more time. And it breaks in the actual callback. Okay, so the callback itself is what we're working on, and this bit didn't work. So let's encode our URI component, and then we'll go into our that's the code, that's the other, yeah, okay, so then we refresh. Code is passed or incorrect. Okay, so then we're going to log in with GitHub. We get to the callback, and now we have our code, unexpected token, JSON trace, and JSON parse. JSON parse auth path. Oh, right, because apparently you decode URI component on all of these, which is not my favorite. That's kind of a, like, I kind of just want that to already be done. It's fine. I don't care. Not bothered at all. Okay, so that worked. So then does that mean when I come in here and I do one of these, and let's try an org. It did not work. It didn't work probably because it didn't get the data properly. Functions user. So then user is getting, like, what's in here? What are you getting? Oops, console log auth. Okay, try that again. Let's go here. Let's go here. And we're getting the thing. So you should have an access token, which then should work. So something else is breaking. So let's go down and check here. Let's do console log data. Let's see what comes back. So we run one of those. We get back a user null. You're going to be irritating about this, aren't you? I bet the GraphQL API has a different setup. I bet I have to do a different thing for this freaking organization now. Like, it's not user. Oh, this is going to be irritating. Explorer. I'm logged in. Shut up. So we need a double call. Hooray. And that one is going to be, oh, this is frustrating. Okay. So we need one of these. I guess it's good that we found this because the site is technically broken right now. And then we do one of these, and this actually needs to be a capital string, and it needs to be required, and then you need to be required. And then I copy paste exactly the same information. Cool. And then, oh, right, I have to set the variable. Yeah. That is what I'm looking for, Jacob. Do you remember what the thingy is called? What's in this? Would search work? I don't know, maybe. Type user, type org. Repository owner implements both. Let's see if that works, because that would be great. Did I get... Does not get viewer can sponsor. That's so irritating. Like, just come on. Okay, let's just double check that that works. And let's throw in different user. Okay, so that works. I should... I just fake it. Ha! All of you. Suck it, GraphQL. All right, so then I got to figure out how to send that. Let's clean this up a little bit. Good. So then theoretically now we do one of these. No, fail. It failed because why? Wait. Console log data. So now there's not a... No, there is. There's a user. Oh, we need the name. Still failing. What is... Cannot read properties of undefined reading user. You getting something else back? Errors. Field name doesn't exist on type repository owner. Did I need... Now we get back data and everything just works and I can fix this again. Okay. Now if I do an org, it works. Okay. All right. We're back in business. And that's 2 of these modernized. And we're basically out of time. So why don't I commit these and let's make sure they work. Okay, so we're going to let that build. Right. Well, thank you for bailing me out of having to write bunch of annoying logic to pull those things together. Sponsorable implements both. Okay, all right, that would work. Sorry. A fragment would work, yeah, but it doesn't matter. Which part of actually TypeScript wasn't our issue in this one, I don't think. It was being just fine today. Many days TypeScript feels like it's battling me for no reason, but today I'm pretty okay with it. Just realized I left the data logging in there, so I'm going to clean that up. Let's commit everything, and we'll say chore remove logging. Push that one more time. Listen, Vinny. Oh, and this is that's the Muppet. I forget their names, but the Heckle Muppets. That is like the Vinnies are my heckler Muppets. So that one published, and so we can test it because the only thing that changed in this latest build is the logging. So let's make sure that we can get an org. We can ship it, and it works. And when we go to the head and check our Open Graph images, they work. Business time. All right. Is it rude if this is how you behave? I guess that's true, VDog. You were on good behavior today. Want to see me make an app out of Remix or Gatsby? Gatsby, it's probably unlikely that I will build anything on Gatsby. It has not really been updated at all since the acquisition. It's just not. I don't think it's anybody's priority. I think the Gatsby model helped prove how things could change from the way they were, but I think in the history of the internet, it was an intermediate step to what we're doing today with stuff like Astro, with stuff like Remix. As far as Remix goes, I just built an app with Remix yesterday, actually, as part of the 4 Web Devs 1 App Challenge. That will be published in 2 or 3 weeks, the build. So yeah, lots and lots of good stuff. So I think we're basically out of time, so I'm not going to try to do anything else. We got this running. Everybody, please go and save, go send some of these around. Like, Lynn, thanks for building this. Like, these are so much fun. I love this whole site is incredible. Just going to do a quick scroll through all of these incredible things. I just couldn't div without you. It's amazing. You make it easy to commit. I love this is so good. There's so much good stuff in here. And now, I guess I could have fixed this. We got time for that. I'm gonna take out that the broken part. Right, Lynn, are you ready for that? Are you ready for me to take down the note that this is let me see if I can find it. Great day to send a note. Warning. Okay, we're going to let that build. While we're letting that build, we got some fun stuff coming up this week. So make sure you you head over. Let's see, that's not showing the right part of the schedule yet. So this Thursday, we are going to build a multi-tenant, which is like a business-to-business React app. And if you've never built one of those, that's like when you log into something like, for example, Netlify, you have, that's not the right thing. Where's the actual Netlify dashboard? You have this drop down where I can switch between my teams, and that's multi-tenant. So basically, I'm part of 3 teams, and I'm one user. And each of the teams has its own settings, its own users, its own billing, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to be building a multi-tenant React app. We're going to use, we're going to add like role-based control. We're going to set up auth and all that fun stuff. It's going to be a lot of fun. Juliana is very fun. Then this one had to get rescheduled, but it's still happening. We're just picking a new date. Brandon is going to come teach us about analog.js. If you ever wanted to see what Angular looks like with single file components, this is going to be a fun episode. We've got Rob from the Netlify team is going to talk about how they reverse engineered Next.js to figure out how to make it work not on Vercel, because as many of you know, Next.js is not super good at being open in terms of deployment. They give you a Docker image and they're like, yeah, you can deploy, but most of the stuff doesn't work. Like you don't get the edge stuff, the pre-rendering, a lot of those features. So the platforms have had to sort of find their own way, because frameworks like Remix or Astro or whatever, they have an adapter pattern for deployment where you can sort of hook into their backend and decide, oh, well, yeah, for Astro, for server-side rendering, you're going to deploy a Cloudflare worker or a Netlify function or a Vercel function or whatever it is. Next doesn't provide that. They're kind of just like, whatever. Like it doesn't seem to be on their priority list. So Rob on the Netlify team has had to reverse engineer how all of that stuff works to get all those Vercel features functioning on Netlify, so that Next.js actually operates the way that it's advertised to operate on platforms that aren't Vercel. We're going to learn all about that. It's going to be fascinating. This is going to be a really good deep dive into like the nitty gritty of how open source works. So come check this out. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we've got a bunch more scheduled that I haven't put up on the site yet. So make sure that you, set your reminders through whatever channel you would like to set a reminder through. And don't forget, we've got that giveaway going. So I think I closed the window, so I can't show you again, but if you want to be part of a giveaway, we're going to give away the complete Gather collection. Here, we're going to give away one of these. And so this is an $800 value. I love this thing. It's gorgeous. I want one. I really wish that my desk had it right now. This is from Ugmonk, which has all sorts of great stuff. But we're giving away one of these. If you want to win it, all you have to do is build an app. I'm going to put details up in the Discord soon. I don't have them publicly linked anywhere yet. So keep your eyes open for that. Join the Discord if you want to be the first one to know, or I'm going to post about it on Twitter, on my newsletter, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So head over there, check those out, and let's go make sure that warning is gone. And then we're going to wrap this thing up. There it is. We're back in business, everybody. Lynn, thank you so much for building this site. Thank you all for hanging out. I'm glad we were able to get this done in one session. I will see you all next time.